No, I'm just kidding, but, you know, it used to be that I would practically, you know, put lyrics just in case I forgot any, you know, like under my eyelids, you know, I mean, put them on little scratch sheets on the guitar, you know. But after you get to be 70 years old, you just say, the hell with it, I'm just like, you know, if I forget it, I'm just gonna turn like this and, you know, and not like insult the audience, so I'm just trying to hide this thing, you know. This thing. Otherwise known as getting older. So I was always wait a second, not almost, but I also was taking lessons from Reverend Gary Davis. I would go up to the South Bronx, and Reverend Davis was teaching up there. If you don't know who Reverend Davis was, he was one of the great musicians of the 20th century. He was from North Carolina. He and his wife Annie came up to New York, and Reverend Davis would preach on Sundays and be out on the street with his hat playing guitar. He was blind, and it was very sad because people would steal from him. And I know Peter Yarrow just played here the other night, and Peter was an old friend. And Peter, what those guys did for Reverend Davis is pretty amazing, because Reverend Davis and his wife were living in poverty, and Peter, Paul, and Mary recorded his song Samson and Delilah. They called it If I Had My Way, or vice versa. And because of that, Reverend Davis and his wife were able to move out into a much nicer place. I used to drive Reverend Davis around also, and I once got a phone call from Annie, and she said, "Can you pick up the Reverend on Friday? He wants to go to the Village Gate to see Sonny Terry and Brownie McGhee." I said, "Sure, I'd love to." You know, I had my junior license, and I was getting calls from Van Ronk, and you know, all my folk music friends would say, "Hey, kid's got a car, you know." And so I'll never forget this night. I went to pick up Reverend Davis, and we went to the Village Gate. The show was Sonny Terry and Brownie McGhee opening for Roland Kirk. And Sonny and Brownie did their show, and I brought Reverend Davis back. Now, Reverend Davis is blind, Sonny Terry was blind, and Roland Kirk was blind. And the backstage area was open. And Reverend Davis came to see Sonny because they were old friends, right? So he bumps into Roland Kirk, and they start hugging each other. Roland Kirk thinks it's somebody else, and Reverend Davis thinks it's somebody else. And I'm pulling him like a referee at a football game. And odd to be a kid in the early folk music scene.